Hello friends and welcome to another update video. So 1.008 just came out today. It is October 22nd, World Series Hype Week, and let's find out what changed, if anything. Now I'm kind of thinking that this is just a patch to prepare the game for PS5 Pro support, but you know, either way, I'm going to do a full playthrough. Okay, so actually we do have, right here in the display settings, we have new graphics options, which, let me turn off my webcam so you guys can see better. Like here is prioritize performance, balance, prioritize resolution. These are the normal ones, but now we have Pro Max, and we can turn HFR on or off. HFR says utilize your display's 120Hz refresh rate and variable refresh rate, or VRR, to minimize input lag and enhance frame rate performance. Please note that this feature can be utilized only if the following requirements are met. A display that supports 120Hz output. PS5 settings, screen video output 120Hz enabled. HFR mode is only available on the PS5 Pro console when either Pro or Pro Max graphics mode is enabled. So there's some exclusive modes. Here's Pro Max. It says all that stuff. If you're interested, you can read it. If you're not getting a PS5 Pro, probably doesn't really matter. Probably doesn't really matter to you. Besides that, let's jump into a full playthrough. But first, I wanted to show you something that I missed last time. This was added in patch 1.007. The biotic field now has an updated graphic, which is nice because it's more obvious, you know, like where its area of effect is. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, I'm going to spend the next like 15 minutes talking about speedrun skips, starting with the very first one in Eidos 7. There's a lot of skips like this where we skip kind of forced walking sections by either rushing through them or jumping through them or avoiding them otherwise. Here, I'm just jumping into that little chasm, and it skips, you know, Eve being forced to look at the crumbling building. Here's a cutscene skip, sort of. If you rush into that corner, you skip one extra cutscene, so instead of having two there, it just goes straight to the dozer spawning. Okay, next, this is in flooded commercial sector. This is a very, very minor jump, but after this ladder, you can just turn around. You don't have to climb the other ladder, you just, right here, bam. Okay, and then after that, we have the first big out of bounds. For this, you need to have dive kick, which is called aerial blow. You gotta have that researched. I'm jumping off here to de-aggro the enemies so that we can out of bounds in peace. By the way, I do have a whole spreadsheet with all of these skips and individual videos for them if you wanted to go back and look at a specific one more closely. That is in the description, as well as on the Discord if you're in my Discord server, which is safe for work, free to join. Under the speedrun strats, I have the compendium pinned there as well, and I'll always update it. Anytime there's an update, I'll check all the skips and I'll make notes if it works on the newest patch. So yeah, pretty much we just run along. And then here, you're gonna fall through the ground. Don't jump or anything, just fall down. And then head towards the sunset. And now once you're around here, I start walking, and I just wait for the floor to deload under me. Once you start falling, do a few aerial attacks to kind of slow down your descent. And then at this point, you would turn around because you want to go grab the drone upgrade module. You would turn around, that'll cue the cutscene, and you can turn around again and go get the very important drone upgrade module because you want to have shotgun researched for Altess. Now, if you didn't want to do the out of bounds, here's another one you could do after grabbing the floodgate key. You still need aerial blow researched for this, but yeah, after you grab the floodgate key, jump off again, de-aggro the enemies, hit the water, and then blah blah blah, whatever, water cutscene, okay. To practice this, I recommend that you hit the camp. So you basically just jump through here, and you're going to take some damage, it's okay. Fall down all the way here to this bottom ring. And now there's two ways to get up. Here's the harder way. I don't recommend doing it this way, but it works. It still works, and you can do it this way if you want, but you can dive kick a few times. I'm not good at doing this. Eventually you'll hit some solid ground, and from there you can just jump and do an air dash. Or a much, much easier way, again from this bottom ring, you make sure you're running, do a dive kick, and you'll grab onto the ledge. You just got to make sure you're in a sprint when you do that. Oh yeah, here's another little thing from patch 1.007 that I missed. This cutscene is not skippable anymore. So right here, normally you'd be able to skip this cutscene. This is after you get Lily, as you land in Zion. This cutscene is now a forced watch, but yeah. Tiny jump here in the wasteland. This still works, of course. I wouldn't expect they added an invisible wall there. Okay, two versions of this skip in Altess. This is after you press the first button. So here's the old one. This is a much more precise jump. This is way harder to do than the other one, but at the tail end of that you can jump and then do an air dash. And the problem with this one is that the enemies spawn and you have to be out of combat in order to press this button coming up. So you gotta wait a few seconds here, which of course is not very fast. Alternatively, yeah, see that was like 6 seconds or something. Alternatively, here's the other way you can do it. Press the button. And then we're gonna turn right around. This doesn't spawn the enemies. I mean, they're in there, but they don't get aggroed because we're not gonna walk past their door. And here, this is a much less precise jump. You just jump over here, there's plenty of invisible platform to grab, and then do another jump, and you're in. And now we're on the other side, we can get our drone upgrade module, and continue as normal, so that's pretty cool. Alright, here we are in Matrix. This is in the collapsed railway area. This is, I can't imagine that they would patch this out, but, you know, we gotta check everything, we're being thorough. It's just a delayed double jump, and an air dash to reach over. And then at the very top of this rope, make sure you're sprinting for this part, but you're going to run and then do a double jump to get across. You also got to be careful because if you're too close to the edge of that platform, Eve will kind of pause, you know, and she'll hesitate because she doesn't want to fall off. Okay, more in Matrix 11. Here's another dialogue skip. But yeah, we just run on top of all the trains here. You don't have to fight a single thing in this area. And then this train cart in front of us, we just drop down to the side of it, and that'll avoid Adam telling Eve to like, oh, look outside, it's so, you know, deserted, because it's a desert, blah, 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 whatever. I don't remember what he says because we skip it every time. And then, after that, we have another little dialogue skip, because we don't like listening to Adam in this speedrun. After you drop down here, just be careful there. You can do a safe landing on that banister, but sometimes you miss it. If you do, you just take a tiny bit of damage, it's okay. I'm looking for the second horizontal line right here. You can do your rush there, and that'll skip all the dialogue. And then after we finish fighting Stalker, we have a tiny jump here. Again, I can't imagine that they would patch this out, but it still works. Okay, and now here's the first this is the biggest sequence break probably in the game. This is the Matrix 11 skip. So it gets us, it lets us save a fusion cell. It's very good. I like to jump on top of this little green shrubbery, and then jump towards the center of that red tubing. And yeah, it's a good one. It's a very good one to learn. That still works. Okay, here is the elevator before Juggernaut. If you didn't know, you can drop 2 smart mines here, where the sculling would drop. And then I like to spend my slug ammo first to take out this hive, because it's cheap. It's the cheaper ammo. And then once I'm out of slug, I switch to the explosive shells and finish it off. Although it won't officially die until the sculling behind us. So the sculling has to die in order for this wall to die. So that's why, you know, I'm dealing damage to it, but it doesn't matter. As soon as you hear the smart mines go off and the sculling is dead, that's when the wall disintegrates. Okay, and then after all that, we can use Onslaught 1 to get over this little barrier, because we can't jump on the elevator, but we can still get over it. This saves a tiny bit of time. And I mess up the safe landing here, but I've hit it before. You can do the safe landing, and then you'll avoid taking damage. Okay, next we are at the beginning of Abyss Lavoir. So here, this is a pretty big out of bounds. There's actually an extension to it too, but let me just talk about the first way, the first part of it. Jump on top of the ammo machine, get on top of next to that too, and then you're gonna wanna kind of tilt your left analog stick to the 5 o'clock position, and then flick it straight up to 12 o'clock. And then once you're here, you're going to just walk forward slowly to deload the floor. It's kind of finicky, and then you can shoot out the fans. Alternatively, you can actually keep going. I just haven't learned it yet, but you can actually keep going here by like, you have to like look up to load the floor in. It's kind of strange. I haven't figured it out yet, but it does let you skip the room ahead of us, and it goes straight into the next little kind of narrow corridor. But yeah, there's that, and that is a precise out of bounds. Okay, here we have the laser room skip. This is honestly pretty hard to do. I never even go for that in a speedrun. Here's how I actually do it. This is just the speed tech faster way to do it. Drop down to the lower level because it's safer. come over here. And then from this one, we can jump straight over to the final railing. And I'm just waiting for the lasers to be in a favorable position. And there we are. That's a good one to do it. Honestly, I think that's easier than the casual way. Okay, here's one of my favorites. This is the Laboratory Ruins platforming skip. This is a two-parter. But pretty much you gotta wait for this platform. You can do a delayed double jump, make sure you're sprinting. Reach over to the rope. And then from the rope, you can land on the banister. Or you can, you know, land on the catwalk and then go to the banister. From there, make sure you're sprinting again. Another delayed double jump. Actually, it's not even delayed. That's more like that's a double jump for height. You just need height on that one. But yeah, that one's actually not too bad. You can learn it, you know, with like 10 minutes of practice, you'll get it pretty consistent. Just do one part at a time. Okay, this out of bounds here in Spire, this one I recommend just watching several times over. The very first part of the out of bounds, where I jump onto like an invisible platform, it's closer. You don't want to jump too far past the bridge, because that's where the platform isn't quite as wide. And then here, I swam down a bit. You cannot swim down too much, otherwise you will deload the water below you and you'll just, you know, fall infinitely. So that's the one precise part. Yeah, that one's another one where you kind of just gotta practice it. Okay, and then here is if you fail the out of bounds, which I do in speedruns. This is the backup, which is just the good old Taki skip. First, I jump up here using a delayed double jump, and then I activate Taki mode up here. The reason is this gives me 2 tries. So in case I mess it up the first try, which I do here in this case, I didn't make it, I can get back up and have just enough Taki mode to do a second attempt. This one we're just taking a nice wide double jump. I like to turn my camera to help me, you know, stay aligned. And then we can enter our code. Oh, here's another tiny little tech. You can use rush to get through this platform that falls below you. Alright, and then here we have another thing that changed from 1.007. The lasers stop now. So in patch 1.06 and before, that would not stop. But here, once you get to the end of the track of the conveyor belt, the lasers, the turrets I should say, do stop, which is nice. But yeah, here is the light skip. So this is a cool one. The classic skip. I just like to do a double jump straight onto the light. Make sure you jump onto it in a consistent way so that you're, you know, so that you get used to jumping it from a certain height. Because if you approach it a different way, you might have like a different height on top of the light. Here's an out of bounds though that is much faster. And this one's harder. It's a little bit harder to do on new game. You need to have one health upgrade researched for this to make it safe. But here, I'm basically just jumping towards... Once you approach the conveyor belt, you want to do a double jump, because otherwise you'll fall through. And then here, we're just doing a U-turn going back the way we came. And we're going to gently, just very gently walk off here. Very gently. I messed up the safe landing, so I took, believe it or not, that amount of damage is 1/2 sliver away from dying if this were new game with 1 health upgrade. So it's very close, but yeah, it is doable on new game. Okay, here's the Nerber room. This isn't so much a skip, it's kind of just, it's just a little tech that avoids getting detected by some enemies. Make sure you're just sprinting and avoid getting, you don't want to get smacked. If those tentacles, if either one of them smacks you, you'll get knocked towards the robot on our left, and then it's a bad time because you got to fight it. But yeah, here just wait for Eve to put her sword away. That's how you know you're out of combat, and you can then do the puzzle. Saves a lot of time. Okay, after you grab the body, and to avoid having all the boxes fall, we're just going to do a little platforming skip here. I'm just going to start to walk off, and then a double jump gets unlocked, and you can get back up to the top. And another thing you can do here is I like to use my rush to get through the tentacle that pops out of the ground in the next corridor. So right here, just do a rush through it, and then it won't even stop you. Okay, and then here we have another Taki mode skip, which is cool. So make sure you save your Taki mode. Don't burn it during Belial. Just do a double jump here, activate Taki mode, do a nice delayed double jump, and Taki mode. Make sure you're sprinting too, and Taki mode will take you the rest of the way. So there's that. That saves fighting a couple machine hives. It's a very good one. But now there's even more. So this section is just all skips. Coming up after this cutscene, once we get into the maintenance area. So skip all these cutscenes, maintenance sector. You can do another delayed double jump to save a little bit of time and some wall running. Yeah, make sure you don't use your rush when you're near enemies, otherwise it'll just home in on them. Yeah, nice delayed double jump. get across, no problem. Alright, and then once we're outside, there's some cool platforming you can do to save, you know, climbing along the slow way. So we're just going to jump off and then angle our air dash back into the railing. That's a cool one. And then last thing, in the same area at the top of all the ropes, you can just jump into the cutscene. So the cutscene trigger is quite big, so you can just jump straight into it. And here's the very last skip you can do in the whole game. This is in the nest before the final boss. In case you don't care about hitting the last camp, you can do that jump there to save a little bit of time. If you're like on lower difficulties, you might not need the extra camp. But yeah, that is everything. So I hope you enjoyed. Again, I have a Discord server that's free to join, safe for work. Link is in the description. Thank you guys so much for your support. Stay tuned. I do stream a lot on YouTube. Schedule's also in the description. And I'll see you next time. Peace.